The man knocked on the door and then politely inquired, "You, Jimmy?" "I'll take that as a yes." When Jimmy woke up, he was already tied to a chair. At that moment he was still a bit groggy, but in the next second he was instantly wide awake, only to see that the man was holding a red-hot branding iron and kept approaching him. Jimmy was scared shitless. He kept backing away while constantly begging for mercy, and the man lifted his shirt to reveal the brand on his body. Seeing the brand, Jimmy stopped struggling and then took the initiative to pull at his own shirt. Seeing that he was so cooperative, the man directly pressed the branding iron onto Jimmy's body, and there was a smell of roasted meat in the air when the branding was done. Jimmy almost passed out. The man then threw him a box of ointment and informed him to report to the farm the next day. But as soon as Jimmy arrived at the farm, his feet were tightly bound up and one hand was tied to the saddle. He didn't know why he was being treated this way. The worker next to him reminded Jimmy to be careful, which made him even more confused. Suddenly, the horse started to go crazy. Jimmy wanted to run away, but both his feet and one hand were firmly bound and couldn't move at all. He could only hold the reins and try to keep his balance as best he could while the others were all gloating, because every one of them had experienced this kind of thing. There were two kinds of people working on the farm, one with a brand and one without. As long as there was a brand on someone, no one could easily mess with them, but there were always people who didn't believe it. One day, when Jimmy went out to work, a burly man deliberately tripped him up. Jimmy turned around and argued with him, but they had a huge disparity in strength, and the burly man easily knocked him down. Just then a man came over. He picked up the burly man and gave him a good beating. Then the man ripped open Jimmy's shirt and pointed at the brand to warn everyone that whoever bullied someone with the brand would suffer the consequences. And the burly man was clearly a bit unconvinced. But that night, the burly man was driven out of the farm. A cowboy was in charge of sending him to the train station, and on the way the burly man kept insulting the farm. But the cowboy pretended not to hear and just silently drove the car to the cliff edge. Then he took out the burly man's luggage and threw it over the cliff. This was their way of dealing with trouble. Simple and efficient and never soft on outsiders.